All right, let's talk about something you just don't see every day. We're talking about a moment when a state's top leader walks into the country's highest court, not as a politician, but as the actual lawyer arguing the case. It's pretty wild.
And those were the words of West Bengal's chief minister, Mamata Banerjee. Right from the start, she framed this as something much bigger than politics. She's essentially saying, this isn't about my party, it's about the fundamental rights of my people, which, really sets the stage for a major showdown.
I mean, you really can't overstate how unusual this is. This isn't some press conference on the courthouse steps. Nope. This was the real deal. A serving chief minister inside the courtroom making a formal legal argument directly to the Chief Justice of India. It's a sight that's almost never been seen before.
So you're probably wondering, what on earth could be so important that a chief minister would do this? Well, it all boils down to one of the most crucial parts of any democracy, the list of who actually gets to vote. And this whole fight centers on a little three-letter acronym, SIR.
So, SIR stands for Special Investigative Revision. You can think of it like a total, deep clean of the state's voter list, making sure it's accurate and up to date. Sounds pretty standard, right? But here's the kicker. It's the timing and the speed of this whole thing that's causing a massive political and legal firestorm.
And this is the absolute core of the argument. The West Bengal government is saying, whoa, hang on a second. A job that they claim needs 2 full years to be done correctly is being crammed into just 3 months. And all this is happening right before a major election. You gotta ask, what's the big rush?
Okay, so the rushed timeline is the big issue. But how did that translate into actual harm? Let's break down the specific points that Mamata Banerjee laid out directly to the court. She didn't just have one complaint. She built a whole case. She argued that her state was being unfairly singled out for this process, that it was happening at the worst possible time for farmers, and that it was putting a ton of pressure on everybody. And the cherry on top? She says she tried to warn the Election Commission about all this, but got no response.
And then she dropped a bombshell. To really drive home just how severe this harassment was, she claimed that over 100 people, including the local officials doing the work on the ground, have actually lost their lives because of the immense stress of this compressed timeline. That's a huge allegation to make in the Supreme Court. And then she hit them with this really pointed question. By asking this, she wasn't just complaining about her own state anymore. She was suggesting that this was a targeted action, basically asking, if this is so important, why aren't you doing it with the same urgency everywhere else in the region?
Okay, so at this point, you're probably thinking, wait a minute. Can a chief minister even do that? Just show up and argue a case? And has this ever happened before? Well, the history here is fascinatingly short.
Believe it or not, this is only the second time this has ever happened. The only other instance was when Delhi's chief minister at the time, Sheila Dikshit, argued a case about the city's public buses. So yeah, that makes Mamata Banerjee only the second serving chief minister in India's entire history to do this. That's how rare it is.
And for anyone questioning if she was even qualified, well, yes, she does have a law degree from way back in 1982. But more importantly, she didn't just crash the party. She went through the proper channels, filed the right paperwork, and got the court's official permission to argue the case herself.
So, after all these dramatic arguments and this historic moment, how did the Supreme Court actually respond? And what are the next steps in this high-stakes legal battle?
And this is the crucial part. The court took it very seriously. The petition wasn't just thrown out. Instead, the Chief Justice's bench has formally ordered the Election Commission of India to answer these allegations. Basically, they said, okay, we need to hear your side of the story.
And things are moving fast. The Election Commission had a tight deadline, February 9th, to get its reply in. The very next hearing was set for the following Monday. And all this is happening while the final voter list for West Bengal is just hanging in the balance.
And in its own remarks, the court really cut through all the politics and got to the heart of the matter. They made it clear that, regardless of the process, the most important thing is that genuine, eligible voters stay on that list and don't lose their right to vote.
So this leaves us with the big question. This is way more than just a legal fight over an administrative process. It's a battle over the very foundation of an election, the voter list itself. The outcome here won't just decide how this list gets finalized. It could have huge repercussions for the political landscape of West Bengal and maybe even beyond.